the body's been there for a few days, not just last night when it was found. So we're dealing with some, you know, we've had rain over the last few days, so that's part of what we're dealing with out there, and trying to still recover evidence that the rain hasn't washed away. But again, that timeline will come together as we move forward, but as of right now, we feel like he's been there for a few days, and it's consistent with that, but we'll put those timelines together as we move forward.
Any word on the truck, Sheriff? That UTA truck everybody keeps is still missing?
Still missing. We're still looking for the truck, not only in this area, but I know Sublette County has a group working on that as well, with resources from Wyoming and Utah to try and locate the truck.
Can you talk about how many agencies are, this is a lot of different counties, a lot of different even states. Can you talk about how you guys are all working together on this, or if you are, and who's involved?
Well, we very much are working together. As you know, UTA Police is involved heavily because this is an employee of theirs, and they have a special interest as a part of their family. That they have that special interest. They have some people up here. Centerville obviously was the initial investigators of the original incident involving the two individuals that we believe may be involved. Again, the FBI, the State Department of Criminal Investigation for Wyoming, has taken the lead on the investigation of the homicide. Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, Diamondville PD, Kemmerer PD, all the local agencies have helped in some way, which is pretty common for a small rural area like this.
Who's taking the lead on the investigation for trying to track down the truck? Is that also the State Division of Criminal Investigation?
We're all involved in that. Sublette County is working on that right now because there's that's where those two guys were located. That's where we're looking for the truck right now.
I know the two men are in custody. I don't know if they're, you know, I know they have an attorney, or they're staying tight-lipped still. They're not really talking about how they got here, or are they? Has that changed? You know?
I don't know the answer to that. My understanding is they're not talking right now.
Have your investigators tried to or attempted to talk to them specifically related to this case?
Not at this time.
How did you identify Mr. Ricks? Do you still have a wallet on him, or ID or anything like that?
Through ID and clothing.
So he did have ID on him?
Yes.
Maybe go over this one more time, but I mean, cause of death, I mean, obviously investigating it as a homicide.
You're listening to Lincoln County Sheriff Shane Johnson answer questions from the media about the discovery of the body of Kay Ricks.
Just talk about your county a little bit. It's a small rural county. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody's talking about this.
Yeah.
This is the talk of your county right now. You don't get this out here.
No, we don't. It's small in population, very large in area. So we're 4,000 square miles. We're spread out quite a bit. So we have a lot of area to cover. We see all the same things that you see in the big city, but we certainly don't see it in the same volume. So we have an active homicide case that we're working right now that will go to trial shortly. So we do have these type of things happen. We are comfortable in handling this, but yeah, it's not something that we deal with, and thank goodness every day. We have a great county, and it's a great place to live, but we're obviously not immune to this.
You know,
Sheriff, has Mr. Rick's body been removed, and where does it go from here?
So it has been removed. It's on its way to Utah. The Lincoln County coroner will be meeting a pathologist and do an autopsy at ME's office in Salt Lake.
At first, Sheriff, agencies in Utah were hesitant to say, you know, there was a connection at all even to the Centerville kidnapping suspects. How confident are you today, standing here right now, to say, hey, this may be a really very serious possibility that there is some involvement?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that that's exactly what happened. What I am going to tell you, there's enough things that that have come together that certainly we're looking that way, and it would enough things that we know about that's one of the paths that we're taking in this investigation.
Of course, finding a body is a large piece of an evidence.
Sure.
for your agency. The second piece of evidence, I would assume, is finding that truck. Is that what you guys are trying to find right now?
It's important that we find the truck, and we'll put a lot of resources into that. And it's currently happening again in Sublette County. Also, Utah is sending resources up to help locate the truck as well, sonar and those type of things.
Sheriff, what can you tell us about the scene over there, other than a two-track dirt road? In general terms, can you describe what it's like down there?
There's a small stream, a lot of sagebrush, and a bridge area, but it's just a rural 2-track road that you'd find everywhere in this county in western Wyoming.
Was there any attempt to try to conceal the body, or was it out in the open?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's out in the open, but there wasn't a lot of effort put in to conceal it. It wasn't right on the road, but there wasn't an attempt to cover it with anything that I noticed.
Sheriff, can you talk about who discovered the body?
The body was discovered by 2 police officers, a police chief in Diamondville and a deputy from my department that had information about the truck that was taken and that it was seen in the Kemmerer Diamondville area, and putting 2 to 2 together that it probably came from this direction, and some third-hand information that had come through talking to different law enforcement sources. They decided to come out here and start looking, and with some good hard work, good police work, and probably a little bit of luck, they found the body.
And what time did that happen around?
That was yesterday evening, probably 6 o'clock.
Do you know how long they've been searching before they found it?
I don't, but it was a short amount of time. It was less than a couple hours.
The land down there, is that private property or state land? Or?
I believe it's federal land, and I don't know that for sure, but I don't think it's private.
And
Yeah.
how much use does that road get?
It's a pretty well-traveled road. It's again a 2-track that's typical of Wyoming. A lot of recreation, 4-wheeling, hunting, those type of things. So it gets used for that. Of course, it wasn't that long ago it was covered in snow, but at this time of year it'll get a lot of traffic.
Would people from outside this area know about that road specifically to go there?
Not necessarily. I mean, but it's pretty obvious cutoff from the highway. So it's not. There's a marker there, a historical marker right off the path there. So it's well traveled. Certainly not a highway, but it's a well traveled path in the summer.
Can you talk about the layers of this case and how this is all kind of, I mean, it's all fluid, everything's coming, but if you could describe, I mean, in your career, a case of this volume, I mean, have you ever seen anything like it?
Well, I guess the part that's unique about this somewhat is that it involves numerous agencies, a couple states. It's not unheard of, but of course, we have a lot of people working together on it. We work good with each other. That's a plus. We have every expectation that we're going to get all the information that we need and all the cooperation that we need from surrounding agencies and agencies that have information. Again, been in contact with all those agencies that were involved from the beginning. Centerville, obviously, UTA, state of Utah, those are all agencies that we've worked with to gather information. So, but there's a lot of different levels to it. Certainly there's a crime that happened in Centerville that Centerville will be working on, and now we have a homicide that we're going to be investigating here and work on.
You're listening to Lincoln County Sheriff Shane Johnson responding to questions regarding the discovery of the body of missing UTA worker Kay Porter Ricks.
Would still like to find a truck. I know there's a lot of things out on that. If somebody sees the truck up around this area, certainly let us know. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I would say, this is a horrible incident. This is not, by everything that I understand, this guy wrong place at the wrong time, and some awful people took advantage of him, and totally unnecessary that this happened. Just absolutely a travesty for that family, and our thoughts and prayers go out to that family, because this is a terrible incident. We will work hard to make sure that we bring justice.
Sheriff, did the information that the police chief and your deputy developed, or the police chief developed, whomever, send them specifically out to this area, or did they just decide they needed to start looking down some of these rural roads, these turnoffs from the highway?
Yeah, there wasn't specific information to this area. It was general information that if they went off the road coming up to this area, that there's a few places that you could pull off, and so they started looking in those areas, and were able to find the body.
Now, you had mentioned investigating a homicide that happened in Lincoln County. Do you think that it happened where his body was found, or on the way in, or?
The only thing I'm going to say is there's enough information that we have that we're handling it as a Lincoln County homicide.
And then I guess what comes from here as far as putting together any possible charges or anything like that against people responsible?
Right. We've been in contact with our county attorney. He's up to date on what we have. He'll continue to work closely with us to move this along. My expectation is that that these individuals will end up down in Davis County Jail on the charges that have already been filed as we continue to put our case together, and then we'll work from there with the Utah authorities.
All right, you've been listening to Lincoln County Sheriff Shane Johnson responding to questions in the discovery of the body of Kay Porter Ricks in Lincoln County. It was found about 16 miles south of Kemmerer, kind of off on a dirt road where you might turn off. They just said they started looking for places where this might happen, and it was discovered by 2 police officers around 6 p.m. last night. They did confirm that this is the body of Kay Ricks. They said they found an ID and other clothing that positively identified it as that of Kay Ricks.